AI will wipe out 90% of agencies in the next 24 months for the people that aren't using it correctly. I'm not talking about just using a ChatGPT agent and asking it questions every now and again, just using it for fucking sales call audits or to put together SOPs. You need to be using it in a way that nobody else is, because we've reorientated our entire agency in the direction that we've gone in over the last 6 months to be structured around AI and how we could lean down our team, make it more efficient, and actually get our clients better results. And as a byproduct of that, we opened up an additional $50,000 in profits every month because we trimmed down our team and our team got more efficient. We had less headache because we had less team members, and we actually got our clients better results, because nobody on this planet can compete with the output that AI has the capability of being able to do. So in this video, I want to run you through how we used it, the future of agencies, and what you need to prepare for in terms of your team, the people that you can remove, how you need to structure your team in alignment with how AI is going to take over, and the tools and systems that you need in place to make sure that you don't get left behind. And I work with hundreds of agencies as well as running my own multi-7-figure agency, and I can tell you that if you're still running your agency the same way you was 12 months ago now, you're already on the path to dying. So you need to just put this full screen and watch this, because otherwise your agency's probably fucked in the next 1 to 2 years. And before I break it all down A to Z, if you do want help implementing these systems and you want to license everything in my multi-7-figure agency, click the link below. There's a free training there that will give you a rundown of how I could potentially help you. But that being said, let's rock and roll. So as I mentioned, over the last 6 months, we've been reorientating the direction of our agency around AI systems. And as a byproduct, our profit margin was thanking us, because I made way more money as a byproduct of just using AI more. And it allowed me to figure out what was working and what wasn't. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how AI is transforming the agency model, specifically in SMMA, but even if you're in an online agency. And I want to give you a complete blueprint for rebuilding and reorientating your agency around AI. I'm not sitting here saying you need to let go of half your team or you need to completely change the angle of your agency. Our agency still delivers the same level of fulfillment. Our offer's still the same. It's just simply we have a leaner team doing so, and we've made ourselves way more efficient, and we actually have better client retention as a byproduct of that, because we can use AI to deliver immediate value to the client. So and the only other thing that I will say, tying back to what I said in the intro, is I promise you, if you do not use AI to your advantage, your agency will die in the next 1 to 2 years. And you can either listen to me or you can ignore me. The choice is yours. So the first thing I want to run you through is you have to understand the difference between, let's say, a $250,000 a month agency, what it looks like now, to what it's going to look like in the next 1 to 2 years, or what it's even going into this year specifically. So just to give you an example, we have a $250K a month agency, and this is what the typical $250K a month agency team would look like. You've got you probably have a personal assistant, you have an operations manager, then you have the sales team. Say you have 2 closers, you have a setter, you have some operational wizard that can execute for the operations manager. And then these are just different pods. Now, if you're not familiar with the term pod, a pod is a business or a subset of the business within the business that manages a subset of clients. For example, if we have 150 clients, we're going to need 3 pods, because an average pod can handle around 50 clients. And within that pod, we have a client success manager who speaks to the client directly. We have a tech and onboarding VA who onboards the client, manages tickets, helps with funnel setups and changes and pivots. And then we have a media buyer who manages the ads. And we have that once, twice, and 3 times, because we have 3 pods for 150 clients, as an example. Then you have a project manager who's responsible for essentially connecting the dots between all of those departments and making sure that things are fully aligned. And then finally, what we have on our team is we have a fulfillment manager who manages all of the media buyers and making sure that fulfillment's dialed for our clients. Now, the key difference as we transition into this like AI era is all of that shit isn't going to be there. You're not going to need media buyers, tech people. Anything that is SOPable is going to be completely removed. And when you're at like 250K a month and you're running like a AI infrastructure agency, essentially, where you're going to be building out the AI infrastructure and then you're going to be managing it, and that is what your retainer is going to be based upon, you'll still have a sales team, you'll still have a client success team. I don't see realistically that being replaced for at least another few years, if that, because it's a lot harder to replace than it is like an AI voice agent or a very SOPable position, because humans connect with humans whether we like it or not. And then as well with like the AI voice agents and things like that, there's still going to be laws and regulations around what they can actually say over the phone, what they're going to have to say with these AI voice agents pretty soon, because the US is bringing out regulations around it is, hey, just so you know, before you start this call, I'm an AI agent, so you need to be prepared for that. And that's going to immediately diminish any trust on the call if they're taking a deposit, and especially if you're in like an old niche. Like for med spas, we're working with middle-aged women as an example. For pain management, same thing. You're going to be working with older people. These people are going to be skeptical as hell. They're already skeptical if they're on the call with a human, never mind an AI. That's where I don't anticipate that like closers, especially in high ticket roles, and then client success, managing clients, is going anywhere anytime soon within the next few years. What is though, is anything that is SOPable. So you can see here, instead of you having a big team of media buyers, tech people, you won't need that. What you'll actually have is you'll have an operations specialist who will be the forefront of your communication, who will then have an AI innovation director whose responsibility is finding new ways that you can use and leverage AI. And that AI innovation director will then have a prompt engineer. Now, where that prompt engineer ties in is their sole responsibility is prompting agents that are essentially people that work for you. What a lot of people think about AI is that it's going to replace humans. It's not going to replace humans, but it is a tool that humans can use to their advantage. It's not going to completely replace humans, at least yet, because humans still need to prompt it and they need to give it context. And that's why the prompt engineer is going to be there, because their responsibility is to create these agents that essentially do things in your agency, like media buying, operations, fulfillment. But in order to build those things, they're going to need to be trained by somebody that understands how to prompt people correctly. And you can see here there is a significant difference in the overall team size, which on paper looks like profitability is going to open up. But when you hire like an innovation director, a prompt engineer, an operations assistant, that's going to cost a lot of money. Like if you go and try and hire an operations specialist that is just AI focused right now, you're going to be looking at 10, 15, 20K a month position. So even though you're going to have less people, which the benefit to that is less headaches, because the more people you have on your team, the more headaches you have, you essentially become a therapist to your team. Your payroll isn't going to be significantly different because the people that you do hire are going to be way more talented and way more expensive. And the reason that agency teams are shrinking is because call centers are going to be AI, and they're getting there now. Media buys will be AI. If you take a look at ChatGPT operators as an example, where they're essentially able to take control of a screen and complete actions that you give it, and then onboarding will be fully automated. There won't be a need for tech people. All it will be is feeding SOPs to ChatGPT. And every key position that is literally just following an SOP will be completely gone. Because the prompt engineer, what I was just running you through, will be the one responsible for creating what we call sub-agents that replace each responsible role for completing these tasks. So essentially, what the prompt engineer will do is they will have a prompt agent. So in ChatGPT, you can literally go in and create an agent that creates prompts. If you've heard of that term where it's like you've got two different types of beliefs, you've got like a sub-belief and a meta-belief. An example of a meta-belief would be, I create my reality. And a sub-belief would be, I'm capable of making 100K a month. Well, if you just have the meta belief of, okay, I'm capable of creating my own reality, you don't need that sub-belief, because that sub-belief comes as a byproduct of you having the meta belief of you creating your own reality. The same thing happens here. I know it's a weird analogy and a weird comparison. The same thing here. If you have a prompt engineer that knows how to prompt things really well, you don't need to know how to make individual agents, because the prompt engineer who has the prompt agent that creates the prompts to create the sub-agents will do it all for you, okay? And we're doing this in our agency right now. We have an agent for copywriting, for sales call audits, for niche selection, for churn audit agents. I also have a life therapist agent that I can use as well. And you can create all of these things within ChatGPT right now. And although it's not 100% there yet in terms of being able to take control of your screen and manage ads and decide what to do, it's going to be there in the next 6 to 12 months, like almost guaranteed. And this is why I say you need to be on top of these things now. And the thing that you can do now to get ahead of the curve is you need to start SOPing everything and building really good systems. Because when you SOP everything, you can give ChatGPT that context. ChatGPT and AI as a whole is shit if you do not give it context. So having really good SOPs, really good processes, and documenting everything down to a T, and then considering later down the line hiring that prompt engineer that can then use that context, feed it to AI in the right way to replace people in your company is going to be insane. And just to give you a practical example of this, of how you can implement this now, although you can't replace a media buyer fully, I'm going to run you through all the use cases in a minute, but we have a ChatGPT agent called the Pinpoint Scaling Wiki for our agency, which our entire team has access to. And what we've done is we've trained it on who we are, what we do. I've gave it context on our company playbook, our vision, our mission, our values, all of our SOPs centralized into one place. And I've put all of those documents inside of ChatGPT. And what that's allowed me to do is whenever anybody in the team has a question, they can route it here and it will actually feed them the correct SOP from our SOP library. So instead of them having to search for it or figure it out themselves, the wiki will either give them an answer based on the context of our agency, or it will give them the SOP required on that thing specifically if we have one. So that's just like a practical example of how you can use this now to save you time, training the same people again and again and again. But the main thing is here, prompt agents and prompt engineers are going to be able to replace people that just follow SOPs. And what that means is the agency model is going to be less people-based, where if you go and exit an agency, they're not really buying anything but your systems, your processes, and your team. That is what they're doing, and it's mainly people-based. But now it's going to pivot to be, it's going to be infrastructure-based, and that is what creates your moat. That puts you in a category of one. Because again, it will be more AI build-out based, where you'll go all in and install the AI infrastructure with your team of AI specialists for your clients, and then you get paid a management fee to improve the system and manage it. So there's two different routes that I see this going, which people are doing now and I'm doing now, where number one is you literally just sell your agency exactly as you would, where you're gonna run and manage everything. The launch time will be significantly lower because you'll be using AI to onboard clients, you'll be using AI to create creatives, copy, which we're doing right now, I'm going to show you in a minute. But the biggest difference is your setup fee will probably increase. Retainer pricing will go down because you'll have less overhead, but I predict setup fees go way up because majority of the build out and the value is going to come in the first month. So instead of you going to, say, a pay management center or a remodeler and saying, I'm going to run your ads, the market's going to sophisticate to understand that AI can just do that stuff. So you're going to go to them and go, I'm going to build out an AI system that's going to run and manage your ads for you, call and follow up with all your leads for you that are trained on the context of your business. It's going to consistently get better, and then you're going to pay me a retainer to manage it. So then, for example, instead of you charging 2K month to month, it might be you charging 10K up front and then doing a 1K month to month management fee to update that. And this is where you create what I call a moat in the agency model, because most people are going to be stuck here, where they're going to be doing the same traditional model in 1, 2, 3 years time as the agency model continues to develop to get more centralized around AI. And the people that can create a moat and a category of one are the ones that are going to pivot to this model, that are going to have really good prompts and lots of data. AI's best friend is data. So the agencies that are going to get ahead are the ones with the most clients and the most data. And I'm going to show you an example of how we're using that right now and how it's allowing us to create a moat in our market. And systems and SOPs at this period of time are the most important thing that you can start to build, especially as AI continues to take over. Because in order for AI to be effective, it needs context. If you have no context, it is kind of mid to shit. That's where, most people just go into ChatGPT and they use a different chat each time that they use it. If you start to train agents like the one I just showed you, where we have a pinpoint scaling wiki for our company, you can't do that if you don't have the SOPs and the systems in place. And that's why I'm so bullish on making sure that you build everything out and orientate it in a way where your team has SOPs for everything, because it's going to serve you now, and it's also going to serve you in the future when AI does take over. And we're using it right now, where when you build out specific agents for copy, for VSL creation, for auditing sales calls, for auditing your churn, for creating internal SOPs, the more context you can give it, the better it is going to be. And I saw this coming, to be honest. This is why I started building out processes and systems for everything. That's why we have hundreds, thousands of SOPs for every single position that we've ever hired for. And we've been training AI on it for the last 6 months. That's what's allowed me to get ahead of this and really see this coming and build a moat in my agency, in my niche. And I'm going to show you how we've done that in a minute. And you should start doing this today. So I would highly recommend an action item from this video is make a folder in your computer and save all of your resources, SOPs, and documents that you can provide to AI to give it context. So whenever you need to solve a specific problem, you already have an agent or a chatbot that's trained on the context of your agency and how to solve that problem, and it can help you. It's way better than just using a generic chat in ChatGPT, because AI is much better when you have individual agents serving individual roles. What most people do is they go in and they use ChatGPT just like this. They'll go like, oh, can you help me make an SOP? And it's like, it has no context. It hasn't been trained on making an SOP. So it's like, it's going to be super generic when I actually get an answer. In comparison to me having a bot that has already been engineered by me with a prompt on, you're an expert AI you are an expert AI SOP creation specialist working for Pinpoint Scaling. Here's 200 example SOPs from our agency. Here's the structure of making an SOP. Here's how I'm going to give you information on making those SOPs. If I use that, its sole role is to create SOPs, in comparison to you coming in and asking just a normal chatbot, how do I make an SOP? Which one do you think is going to be more effective? Obviously mine, right? It's a no-brainer. So how can you use AI in your agency right now? I'm going to give you a couple of different use cases. So number one, you should be using it in your automations. Now, just a prime example of this is whenever we sign a client, you can actually use AI and ChatGPT within your Make and Zapier automations to put together market research, to audit sales calls, to give feedback to closers, to make ad copy and script VSLs, in comparison to you getting on an onboarding call and fucking around and then getting information and then scripting these things out. You can do it before the call and then give it to the client on the call. And they're like, holy shit, John, how have you done all of that immediately? So just to give you a prime example of this, whenever a client signs up with us, we have this, and we have a ChatGPT agent here, which we can train and orientate to scan all of the information in the form that we gave it. So for this one, for example, we give it information, we give it the Fathom call transcript from the sales call that our closer takes, and we tell it, hey, I'm attaching keynotes from a sales call. I want you to go ahead and map everything out and tell us the bullet point notes of monthly revenue. What have they tried in the past? What do they want to advertise right now? So the client success manager can literally just read 5 bullet points on, did they get offered a guarantee? What's the context on them? So it saves them time of having to go and watch the entire Fathom transcript or the entire sales call. They can literally go in and just read 5 bullet points and have all the context. Another example is when we onboard a client, we have multiple ChatGPT agents working in parallel with one another. So we have one that picks up the client's booking platform when they sign up with us, and it's scanning the internet to see if it integrates, and then we've got the AI specialist not only finding if it integrates, what type of integration it is, and how we can integrate it directly. So it's looking for a guide, and then it attaches the guide for us. It's then creating their offer for them. So for example, if you run a B2B high ticket offer where you help somebody structure their offer, or in our case, we're helping them put together an offer on the front end to run their ads, and then on the back end that they can upsell people on, we give it this, we then train it on all of the trainings we have. Again, context. We give it trainings on how to create packages. I give it video SOPs that I've made for my clients on how to make effective packages. I give it YouTube videos. I give it blogs and articles on how to create effective packages and offers. And then this agent can create that. And then what it does is it will then take that offer, put it into the market research bot and say, based on this offer, I want you to find all of the competitors in their market. I want you to get their Facebook ads library so we can look at their ads. I want you to tell us how successful they are, how long they've been in business, what are the key things, and then I want you to conduct a SWOT analysis on that business. So by the time that we get on an onboarding call with this client, a few hours after they sign up, we've already got information on how to integrate their calendar. We've created them an offer, front end and back end, and we've got a huge document, like a 30, 40 page document of market research for all of their competitors, all of the ads they're running, the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of each individual competitor. And by the time we get on an onboarding call, the client is fucking blown away because they're like, holy shit, how have you done all of that so quickly? And what we're currently building out is we're going to be doing the ad copy. We're going to be scripting out a video sales letter for our higher ticket clients that run franchises. And these are just simple use cases that you can use in your agency that actually don't take that long to complete. And we're also using this to completely automate communication with our clients in Slack. So the way that we do this is in Slack, we have a webhook that's pulled whenever somebody responds to us. When somebody sends a text to us or responds to us, it uses this communication agent for our clients, which has context on all of our example SOP'd message templates. And then depending on the question, whether it's a media question, a marketing question, a sales question, it will scan all of the resources that I feed it. It looks at the prompts that I gave it, and it will simply respond. If it doesn't know how to respond, what we do is we have it ping the CSM in Slack automatically. So it says, hey, client success manager, this client has just responded. Here's the question. Here's the answer that I'm going to give it. Does this look good? Yes or no? And all the CSM needs to do is just select yes or no. It's a button in Slack. If they click yes, it's going to respond to the client. This has helped with our client retention massively because we've fully automated it and our responses are pretty much instant to our clients. Now, obviously, we're not using it fully verbatim. We still have check-in calls with our clients. Our CSM still check in on it and approve the messages. But if you had a client communication agent that anytime that a client responded to you, it was trained on all of the context of every scenario ever of what questions can come up. And then every time that a scenario or a question comes up or a client sends us something that we've never seen before, we then train the agent on it. And we've made it so it self-trains itself through in the prompt. So we basically say, hey, if you get a question that you're not sure how to answer, ping us in Slack and we will give you a templated answer. And then I want you to add that to your knowledge base. And that way, we're continuing to develop the AI the more that it's used and the more context that it gets. Another thing that we're doing, and this is how you create a fucking moat in your agency, is we're using performance dashboards and we're using AI to summarize all of the data across all of our clients. And we essentially use as a big selling point now on our sales calls, you're not only using us for the service, you're using us for data. So if you ever want to run a campaign, we leverage AI across all of our clients in all states, in all cities, in all locations to tell you if it's going to be effective and what you should expect. So I'm going to blur some of this out for the purpose of this video because I don't want you guys to see my clients. But if I just click on an example client here, we have this AI dashboard that I can come into that I can just change the dates and it will tell me the data for the client. So it'll tell me how many bookings the client's got, total leads, cost per lead, total spend. So I can go into an individual client's dashboard and it will give me information like total leads, cost per lead, total spend, amount spent, revenue, cost per lead, total leads. It will give me appointment data, dial data, and it will break it down by individual campaign that we run. And then the client has full access to this because we've white labeled this in a way where the client can download an app on their phone and they can literally just go into this. And what we do is we've got AI telling us recommendations. For example, cost per lead is $12.47, slightly above the $12 threshold, and a total of 87 leads generated. The campaign is slightly inefficient in terms of spending. By refining the target audience and improving ad creatives, we aim to reduce CPL to under $12. So you can see here, we've trained it on all of our KPIs for our clients, meaning what the goal is and what would be above and below KPI or at KPI. And we've also trained it on all of the levers that we can pull in order to solve that constraint. So then the client can log into this, or our client success managers, and literally just show this to the client. And then what we've also done is we've embedded a constraint diagnosis agent within this dashboard that the client can use. So you can see here, ask questions about client names campaign. So we can just say, how can we improve the turkey neck campaign results? Question mark. And AI is going to scan all of the data and it will give us answers. So obviously this one was a little bit generic because we're still working on it, but you can see we could try better targeting, engaging content, or special offers. Let's analyze the ideas. Let's analyze the leads and see where we can tweak things. And then what we also do is, because this is an app that our clients can use, we have in the bottom right here, we can just upsell them here. So they can click, hey, you want chat widget? You want an SEO? Click on it. They can upsell themselves. And if they ever want to send us a message, they can put it in here as well. And they can just click send message. And it also automatically pulls in any recent changes our team make, whether we change to a landing page or a lead form, or we change the ad copy. All of that, ChatGPT is constantly looking at, because we have AI embedded within project management system that those updates go into. It pulls into here and the client can see it. And then another huge thing that we can do within this dashboard is we then have a map where we can compile all of our client data, put all of our clients in there, gives us all the averages for every state. And this is what we use as a big selling point on our sales calls. And it's what allows us to create a moat. We say a lot of agencies have a number of different clients, but they're not giving you that data. We're essentially allowing you to license our data to find what's working. Because if you spend $1,500 a month on ads and we spend $500,000 a month on ads, we have leverage over you, and you should be able to leverage our spending power because we're spending significantly more than you, and we know what's working, we know what's not. So we give our clients access to this where they can come in and ask AI. There's an AI chatbot here, and they can ask it, I want to launch a skin tightening campaign in Florida. How will it perform? And then essentially what this AI will do is it will scan all of our clients in Florida and tell us, hey, based on the projections and the numbers that we're seeing right now, here's what you should anticipate in terms of cost per lead, cost per booking, show rate, schedule rate. So that's another example of how you can use AI. And this one is probably the biggest game changer because it creates a huge moat around your agency and creates another selling point. And you can also create dashboards and softwares like that very fucking easily with AI. A final thing is you can use AI to make internal SOPs and external content for you. But again, it's all dependent on the level of context that you give the agent, because it's going to create really shit SOPs if you don't give it as much context as humanly possible. And if I just give you an example of this, I use this tool that allows me to, basically what I've done is I've put in all of my YouTube videos, I've put in all of the resources in my speaking style, and then all I do is I'm attaching this to the bot, and I've trained it on how I speak, my tonality, my language. I've given it all of the resources that I've created, and I've said, hey, I want you to make an SOP based on the context on the example resources that I provided you. There's 50 example SOPs there. I now want you to use that and leverage that to make an SOP on the following. So again, it's all on context. This is why I'm so bullish and big on you need to get really good at AI, really good at prompting is the main thing, because if you can prompt AI correctly, you can make anything you fucking want and solve any problem you want. And you need to SOP everything and have a process for everything. Because if you do that, you can give AI context. And when you give AI context, it gets really fucking good. This video was all made with AI. Every SOP that I've made in my agency over the last 3 months was made with AI. And they can make it better than me now because I've trained it each time with a constant reiteration process that it gets better every single time. I hope that was valuable on ways that you can use AI. Again, if you want to license my systems to use AI that I'm using in my agency right now that allow me to add an additional 25% in profit every single month, click the button below. I do have something to sell you. I'll jump on a call with you personally and see if I can help you.